Only 1 to 3% of people who download a free or 99-cent book actually go on to buy book 2. But if we raise that price to $2.99, the read-through rate soars to 50 to 70%. I discovered this after managing $90,000 in book marketing spend, and it goes against almost everything that most authors believe about pricing. I'm JD. In the next 10 minutes, I'll show you why your cheap book strategy is leaving money on the table and the 3 psychological triggers that fix it. Now, here's what I keep seeing. Authors giving away thousands of free copies, thinking they're building their audience. But the brutal reality is you're not building readers. You're just creating a pile of downloads from people who will never actually engage with your work. Psychological research shows when people get something for almost nothing, their brain assigns it almost no value. It's called the price quality inference. We automatically assume expensive equals better and cheap equals disposable. And this race to the bottom is endless. I've seen entire box sets, multiple full-length novels, priced at 99 cents. Entire box sets. So when you were competing at that level, we're not building a business. We're participating in a clearance sale. Just last month, I had an author getting 200 free downloads a month. And she was convinced that raising her price would just completely kill her sales. But when I showed her the data that barely 3% of people were going on to book 2, everything changed. And here's where things really get expensive. When no one finishes your book, they don't leave reviews. They don't buy book 2. They don't tell their friends. What we've done is create a lot of movement, but very little to no momentum. Now, my background as a 911 dispatcher taught me to cut through the noise and focus on what actually saves lives. In book marketing, what actually saves your business is understanding this. The authors making real money aren't just focused on volume. They're focused on engaged readers. After analyzing campaigns for over 300 fiction authors, I discovered 3 psychological triggers that make all the difference. Now, let's break those down. Trigger 1 is investment psychology. So when someone pays $3.99 or $4.99 for your book, 50 to 70% will finish it and move on to book 2. The reason why is because they've made an investment. Their brain says, I've paid for this. It must be worth my time. Trigger number 2 is the anchoring effect. So readers compare your price when looking at similar books in your genre. When you price your full-length novel at $3.99 or $4.99, you're anchoring against other successful indies in that range, not racing to the bottom against free downloads. And trigger number 3 is Kindle Unlimited. Here's something most authors miss. If you're in Kindle Unlimited or KDP Select, a higher price actually works in your favor. Readers see $4.99, but free with my subscription, and feel like they're actually getting an incredible deal. Now, there is one time I recommend temporary low pricing, but it's in a strategic way. It's in your first 30 days, drop it down to 99 cents for a few weeks to climb the rankings, then raise that price back up. And this does help build that momentum without training your audience to expect cheap books all the time. And let me show you what happened with a recent client of mine. I had a fantasy author spending over $2,000 a month, $2,000 a month on ads for his 99-cent book. When we raised the price from $99 to $2.99 and optimized his campaigns, we were actually able to cut his ad spend to $735 a month, while his ROI, or return on investment, went from 2.12 times to 4.91 times. And here's the most surprising part that surprised him. Or here's the part that surprised him the most. His read-through to book 2 jumped from around 15% to over 60%. It's because people were buying at a higher price, we're actually invested in the story. And this isn't isolated just to fantasy genre. I track this pattern across romance, sci-fi, thriller. The thing is when you stop competing on price and start competing on value, everything changes. Now you might be thinking, JD, if I'm a brand new author, can I really charge premium prices? And here's what the data shows. Your readers don't care if you're new. They care if your book delivers on its promise. People actually expect to pay more for quality. When you underprice, you're accidentally signaling that your work isn't worth much. Here's a quick diagnostic for you. If your book is priced at $3.99 to $4.99, but is still not seeing results, the issue is more likely your book description or the look inside preview. But if you're stuck at 99 cents, you're training readers to expect cheap books, and that kills your series profitability. Because the reality is that book one rarely makes a profit on its own, even at $4.99. The real money is in getting readers invested enough to buy book two, book three, and so on. And that only happens when they value what they're reading. And the huge bonus is that this strategy actually makes your marketing more effective. When people are invested in your book, they become advocates instead of just pure downloaders. Now, if this resonates with you and you're tired of competing on price and want to compete on quality, I've got something that can help. I've put together a fiction blurb formula. It's the same system that I use with authors that are currently working with me to optimize their book descriptions for higher conversions. For just $17, you get the complete framework, including 47 emotional trigger phrases that turn people just browsing into people that will pick up and enjoy your book. This is exactly how we make sure your pricing strategy works with your blurb to maximize both the sales, the volume, and the engagement of the readership. The thing is you can have a perfect pricing strategy, the most perfectest pricing strategy. Nobody has ever seen a pricing strategy so perfect. But if your blurb doesn't convert, it's all a moot point. This blurb formula, along with this video that you're watching right now, fixes both problems. The link for that is in the description. Grab it, apply it to your book, and watch what happens when you stop competing on price and start competing on value. I'll see you in the next one.